Hello, my name is Rhys, and I recently received my GMAT score of 740. My GMAT journey actually started about 2 years ago, and I started off by doing a mock after about a week of revision and scored a 640, which I was quite disappointed with at the time, as I was aiming for a sort of 700 plus score to help me get into business school. Now, I began my revision just by doing essentially looking at the GMAT club and doing mock tests and questions here and there randomly without much focus to my studies. And I grinded out 3 months of doing that and saw little improvements to my score. And so I sat the official GMAT and received a 680, which is decent, but as I mentioned, 700 plus was my target, and so I was looking for more. So I did a couple more weeks of revision, but I was running out of time before my application deadlines, and so didn't have too long to prepare after that, and so I ended up scoring on my second attempt a 710. Now, actually, in those last few weeks before scoring 710, I actually was reading on the GMAT club as one does. And I found out about the target test prep course, and I'd seen loads of reviews and people saying that it was a really top course. And so I thought I'd try it out. And so I actually ended up taking the week free trial about a week before taking my GMAT second attempt. And I was like, damn, I wish I'd seen this a few months prior, because this is rigorous. It's seems to be effective. And yeah. Anyway, so I scored a 710 on that second attempt, which at the time was good enough to get me into the business school I wanted to go to study a master's in management. Then after my master's in management, I decided I wanted to apply for deferred MBA programs. And so I thought I would need a little bit of a bump in my GMAT score. So I actually decided to take the GMAT again. Even though I already had a 710, I was looking for sort of 730 plus range to really look at applying to those top schools. And so this time I already knew about target test prep, because obviously in the last few weeks of my last prep, I discovered it on GMAT Club and wanted to give it a crack. So I got the target test prep course and started the program essentially for about 3 months of revision. I was looking to do a 3-month stint. So I started with the Quant, and the Quant, particularly in target test prep, is so rigorous. They have absolutely everything you need to get the score that you want. And so I really felt prepared, and much more prepared than I had done in the past, because previously, I hadn't done topic-specific revision. I'd mainly just done a scattershot approach, doing random questions. But then with target test prep, they very much have a regimented topic-by-topic approach. And that really helped me shore up weak areas such as combinations and permutations and probability, and other weak areas that I particularly struggled with. And I think this really helped me feel more confident in the quant section, particularly with timing. And so I ended up taking some practice tests and scoring about 49 in the quant, up from 47 before. And that really helped me sort of feel more confident about going into the test. But I really think the main place where target test prep helped me was the verbal section. And the reason for that is because they have a specific methodology where you should do your questions untimed in the verbal section. And their reasoning for this is that essentially you should try and gain a 100% understanding of every single question and why you got it wrong. And so I started with this approach, and it was very time consuming at first. And I was struggling to see how it would help me. And then after a few weeks of doing it, I noticed that I was getting far more, particularly critical reasoning and reading comprehension questions, correct. And it's because I was really starting to develop the skills that I would need to employ in the actual exam. Untimed, obviously. And then as the course progresses, they introduce timed practice, and then you can bring those skills up to speed. And the actual result of that verbal part of the program was that it took my score from a V41 previously in my 710 to a V45 in my 740. That was really one of the main areas that target test prep helped me. I also think that the strategy section was one of the most useful sections for me, because they had, in particular on the quant side, timing strategies that I hadn't actually employed before. So for example, previously I was spending a lot of time on the harder questions in the quant section. And so what that would mean is I'd potentially even get them wrong, and I'd spend 3.5, 4 minutes on a question and maybe even get it wrong. And then what that would mean is that I'd actually have 1 to 2 minutes less on an easier question later on in the exam, which would cause me to rush, and then I'd make mistakes and my whole score would drop as a result. So I think actually the strategy section was one of the most crucial sections in the weeks leading up to my test. If I would have any advice for someone who is about to embark on the GMAT, I'd say, first of all, follow a program. My sort of scattered study approach before finding target test prep was not the most efficient way by any means of studying. And I feel that my score was quite capped by that because I didn't actually ever hone into the topics that I was weak at. I think by following a study plan, you really will see significant and steady improvement over the months. And in particular, I think Target Test Prep's program is actually one of the best, if not the best, particularly in terms of its rigor and all-inclusiveness. So that they cover everything in great detail, and there is everything you need there to succeed. Second, I'd say you do just need to put in the work. You need to sit down, put in the hours, and your score will go up. And third, I'd say don't give up hope. I myself have had a couple of attempts at the GMAT now. And yeah, I can say it was a long journey, but 100% worth it in the end. Because the moment that score appears on the screen at the end, you really feel accomplished and like you've succeeded at your goals. And I'd say in particular, if you ever need any help with the GMAT and with your preparation, just reach out to the Target Test Prep team. They were so supportive throughout the entire journey. In particular, I did a third attempt of the GMAT and scored a 720 after a few months with Target Test Prep. And obviously that was just a 10-point increase from my 710 before discovering Target Test Prep. And so I was a little bit disappointed and didn't really know where to go from there, and didn't know whether the course was right for me. And so I reached out to the Target Test Prep team, and then they actually guided me and they gave me specific instructions and specific advice to take my 720 to the next level. And it turned out that it was just some minor timing issues because I was actually getting a very high percentage scores in the Target Test Prep course. And so that really helped me push my 720 onto my 740, which was my final score. And yeah, it was a great relief when I pressed that final next button and got the final score. So good luck in your exam. And yeah, I would definitely recommend going with Target Test Prep.